how it was then and how it is now, you know. I've been on the road a long time and I've certainly seen the changes and the differences that have been going on. And yeah, I think the biggest impact on me has been technology, you know, the fact that on a day like today, with my solar panels, I've got tons of power. I think my batteries have been full since probably 9:30 this morning. So, and that makes my life just so much easier for work and things like that. I can turn on the inverter and use my computer to my heart's content, whereas having a computer on the road and internet and things like that just was just too hard then. So if you wanted to be on the road and work, you had to do seasonal work or markets and things like that. And it's pretty much how I've arrived at where I'm at. I mean, I spent years doing fairs and markets and things like that. But as the possibilities expanded, I started building an online presence, which has worked out really, really well. Anyway, I'm going to go up and put some money in the box and sign in for another night here at this park. Okay, well, it's windy out there. That was, I couldn't actually really talk while I was walking around out there because the wind's just crazy. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about the differences between when I first went on the road 19 years ago and now, and how life is different on the road. And the first key is it's a heck of a lot busier than it used to be. You know, you'd pull in somewhere and there might be one or two other people, but you generally didn't get huge quantities of camper vans and buses and things everywhere you went. So, you know, the population on the road certainly increased. And I mean, if you look at the membership of the NZMCA, that's really blown up huge, you know, and that's just them. Not everybody belongs to the club. So, yeah, so it was a lot quieter and you didn't have to think as much about where you were parking, I guess, because it wasn't likely to be crowded out. So number two, yeah, there are more parks now, I feel. They're more, you know, actually organised parks like NZMCA parks and clubs that let you stay and things like that. There's a bit more of that now than there used to be. But I think there's actually less freedom camping. Yes, there's possibly more official freedom camping, but then you could actually get away with staying at places that weren't official freedom camping places, and as long as there wasn't a no camping sign, you could stay there for a couple of nights, you know. So yeah, it has changed quite a bit like that. Now you've got the possibility of getting fines. Back then the only place you really got fines was in Queenstown. Queenstown always had the $500 fine for freedom camping, and so did Te Anau, I think. So yeah, but in general that wasn't a huge thing either. So yeah, it's definitely far more crowded out there now. I mean, I got here to the Rotorua Park at Nongataha on Monday and it was packed. I wasn't expecting that, but I think that could be people leaving from the motorhome show, and some of them might even be going the same direction as I am because I'm on my way to Kawerau to the Woods Fest, but I'm going there to work, so I'll be part of the market side of things, whereas I think they have a rally there. So number three, technology, which I'm kind of touched on before. Technology is just amazing. Solar is so much cheaper. When I was first on the road, an 80-watt panel would set you back about $1,200. Now you pay, I don't know, 160 or 150 or something. I haven't had a look at that size panel for a while, but definitely a huge drop in price. So much more affordable. The technology is better. The converters are better. Yeah, when I first was on the road, I had 60 watts of solar, and you know, that wasn't flash. So in summer it was okay, but in winter it really wasn't that great. But I didn't have a lot of stuff that used power either back then, I guess. So not like I do now. So yeah, but now I've got 450 watts of solar and that works quite nicely. So yeah, definitely improved as far as that's concerned. We've got LED lights and far more efficient things that run off 12 volt. For me, internet's huge. I can get much better internet now, wireless internet. I'm on broadband, so yeah, I've got a lot more data and I can work remotely, which is awesome, which yeah, just wouldn't have been possible back then, or easy, that's for sure. Cellular is better. You know, cellular phones you can now use for browsing, for web browsing, for maps, for all of those sort of things. That wasn't really happening thing back then. You could call, and I think texting had maybe just come in. I can't remember whether I was texting back then or not. The lighting's much more efficient, the appliances we get, the knickknacks. Yeah, it just makes life so much easier. I remember sitting in here with one light on and a candle to save power in the evening. Yeah, so things have certainly changed. Life was simpler. It was so much simpler. You had less stuff to worry about, I guess. You know, your whole setup was more basic. Yes, I already had tanks, and actually, strictly speaking, I was self-contained, even though the certificate wasn't a big deal back then. But yeah, I had a grey tank and a toilet and a big water tank, so things like that, you know, haven't changed that much. But I didn't have as much technology to worry about. I mean, technology can take up a huge amount of your time if it goes wrong. It's wonderful stuff when it's all going right, but if something goes wrong, you can spend hours and hours and hours and hours trying to sort it out. I remember last winter, when I moved my website and destroyed it, and you know, that was a big problem. That took me probably 2 weeks to sort out. Okay, so yeah, it was simpler, but we certainly have more opportunities to do different things now. There were less rules then. There seem to be a lot more rules now, and a lot more people worried about rules now than they were back then. I don't remember having people galloping over to read my stickers as soon as I pulled in somewhere to make sure I really was properly self-contained. And there wasn't as big a drama about pets and things like that as there is now. I've noticed, you know, especially with some motorhomers, there's this fixation on the rules. I've left quite a few Facebook groups because all you hear is, oh, and I saw these people doing this and I saw these people doing that, and it's like, oh, you know, I really don't want to hear it, so I'm out of here. This isn't useful. I like to belong to groups where people share knowledge and do something productive with their time there. Number 6 is more acceptance for the lifestyle, I feel. I used to find it very difficult to explain that I lived on the road. I had a PO box, so that address didn't look very good. Now I use a mail service in Wellington, and that address actually looks like a residential address, so that can be quite convenient as well. But back then, yeah, no, I've had a couple of incidents that were quite exciting. One of them, I had a policeman who pulled me over for not stopping for the full 3 seconds at a stop sign. He wanted to arrest me because I didn't have a residential address I could give him. He was going to arrest me and cart me off to Taupo, I think, and make me leave my truck on the side of the road. So in the end, I gave him my friend's address. That's all I could do. But yeah, no, it was a bit annoying. So yeah, there wasn't as much acceptance of the lifestyle, whereas now it's no longer the oddballs doing it. It's the respectable retired people, so to speak, and also entrepreneurs and digital nomads and people who are younger are now getting into it because of technology and the doors that's open. There's so many more opportunities to work online and things like that. I mean, my video before the last one with Traveling Kay. She's a graphic designer, so you know she can do that online. Yeah, like I work online. I've met people who have all sorts of different jobs they do remotely, so yeah, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, mail and doctors and stuff like that, it can still be tricky. I remember needing some medical treatment and being too far from home, and actually needing to be in the area I was in because I was travelling with the fair then, and that's where we were, so I didn't want to go back to Wellington. So in order to be allowed medical treatment in that area, I had to borrow an address off a friend of mine. So, you know, that was a bit of a pain. I actually don't like telling lies. It kind of felt weird to have to do that in order to get medical treatment somewhere that's not your home district. So anyway, I did that just to be able to get that sorted. And yeah, so it's not totally accepted or easy, but it's certainly a lot better than it was back then. Number 7 is one I think that was more expressed back then because people did more stuff themselves. The creativity, what you saw in vehicles, the designs, the fit outs and things like that, there was so much more self-done, home-built, creative, interesting stuff out there. Contemplated it more, but basically, you know, there's good and bad in both. I'm not saying the past was wonderful and now it's terrible. It's not like that. Both has its pros, both has its cons. If you have any comments to make about, you know, things that you remember or things that you think are better now or were better then, do leave it in the comments below. It's always interesting to chat about these things. I'm on my way to the Woodfest this week. I'm waiting for an answer to see where they're going to park me because I'm kind of hoping that I won't be trying to work next to a ton of chainsaws. So I hope that'll work out okay because that could be kind of difficult to talk all day with my customers with chainsaws right outside. So anyway, yeah, please do leave a comment below if you like this video. Please like and subscribe. Summer's coming. I'm going to be doing a lot more moving around again. So, but I do like making practical videos about subjects, you know, that people find interesting. So I like to add that in a bit. But my next one will probably be at the Wood Skills, at the Woodfest, because I think that'll be quite interesting too. So anyway, lots of love, and I'll see you all in my next video.